Governor Ron DeSantis has selected State Attorney General Ashley Moody to become the next U.S. Senator from Florida. Moody will take the Senate seat once Senator Marco Rubio resigns to become the next Secretary of State. Moody is a close ally of DeSantis's and was one of the few Florida officials who endorsed the governor as he challenged Trump in the 2024 Republican presidential primary. She is a fifth-generation Plant City resident and former Strawberry Festival queen. She's been the state's attorney general since 2019. A former federal prosecutor who, in 2006, became the youngest state circuit court judge when she was appointed to the 13th Circuit in Hillsborough County. In making the announcement, the governor praised Moody for her record on supporting the values we all share, including on illegal immigration, the opioid crisis, and human trafficking. The governor added she's also rejected DEI, ESG, gender ideology, and supported our efforts to ensure Florida's education is free from the impositions of the radical left. Carmen, what do you make of the selection of Ashley Moody?
I think it's great. I think it's a great pick for the state and to replace Marco Rubio.
And this idea that the governor mentioned that she's against DEI and the kind of woke ideology that he's been fighting, she'll take that to the U.S. Senate too, I would imagine.
Yes, I believe she will.
And you know, in that split between Trump and DeSantis, which side does she come down on?
I think it's okay to come down on both sides. I mean, she is a Trump loyalist, but she also obviously has the support of President Trump, and I think you can be both in this political climate.
Yeah, Rob, I would say there's not much of an ideological or division these days between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis.
They've made up.
Yeah, I think they went golfing the other day, actually, in South Florida. I think it's almost inevitable, and when you look at it, she was by far, to me, the front runner. And when you saw the press conference yesterday and you saw those comments that the governor made, you know, they're like ideological twins. And you know, she is absolutely in lockstep with Ron DeSantis on all these issues, on immigration, illegal immigration, standing with him, her, when she's filed lawsuits against the Biden administration on that, on COVID restrictions, what have you. So it does seem like that is by clear, you know, DeSantis is so into it, and he was very supportive of it, and she'll definitely do what the DeSantis folks and Trump want in Washington.
Okay, the Democrats were not happy with this, Patrick. Florida Democratic Party Chair Nikki Fried issued a statement about the selection of Moody by DeSantis, saying that Ashley Moody has been Ron's personal lapdog from day one, despite her role as an independent constitutional officer. She's insisted on calling him boss and defended his extreme agenda at every turn. As Attorney General, Ashley ignored the growing property insurance crisis and let wealthy corporations rip off Floridians. Instead, she spent her time chasing political attention and currying favor with the far right. As a senator, Ashley will no doubt take her marching orders exclusively from Donald Trump with no regard for what's best for the people of Florida. She may even just keep the seat warm until Ron DeSantis runs in 2026. Pretty tough words from the Democrats, Patrick.
Well, I mean, they weren't going to like anybody Ron DeSantis picked for U.S. Senator for good reason. I mean, there's a lot of things that Ashley Moody has done that have not been populist things, but they've been Republican things. And she does have an independent job as Attorney General, but she has not really acted independently. She's in some cases been the governor's attorney. I find what most interesting is the last comment. You know, everybody knows that DeSantis wants to be president one day, and he really needs to stay in public office. And so you really wonder if 2 years from now they're going to switch, and he runs for U.S. Senate, and she runs for governor. And you would need somebody, if you're going to make that deal, who's really loyal to you. But one thing I also wanted to mention is that I think she's the first U.S. Senator Florida's had that's a Hillsborough County resident. And that is kind of neat. We endorsed Ashley when she ran for judge, and have known her for a long time, and the family's a good family. So she was raised right, and she's a smart person, and so, you know, while it isn't what the Democrats want, at least there's a capable person in the office.
Carmen, what about this idea that Ashley Moody is a placeholder until Ron DeSantis wants to run for U.S. Senate in 2026?
I think there could be some validity to that. And I mean, I was writing and looking at statistics. If you look at it in 2022, when she and DeSantis ran again and were at the top of the ticket for the state, Ashley Moody actually got more votes than Ron DeSantis. She got 61% of the statewide votes, and DeSantis got about 59% of the votes. So she's obviously very popular among Floridians. There's the reason why people moved here during COVID and helped turn our state even more red. So I think for Nikki Fried to say she's DeSantis's lapdog, Ashley Moody was elected by the people, and 61% of Floridians voted for her. And so she's doing the will of the people, not so much the will of DeSantis. I mean, we elected both of them to do the job and to carry the mantle for what Republicans wanted to happen.
What do you think about this idea that she's just going to hold the seat for DeSantis?
Well, I hadn't really thought of that, and it is novel because to get there and then a year later, because the campaign's going to begin for governor pretty darn soon, actually. So I don't know about that, but I do think that there will be a challenge from the right to Ashley Moody in 2026. Corey Mills, congressman who wanted to get appointed by DeSantis. DeSantis said, I don't want to select a congress member because of the close division in Washington between Republicans and Democrats. Don't want to give away another seat there. He has already indicated, I think, that he may run. There may be others too. And of course, the seat comes back up in 2028. So there's going to be a lot of activity here. But the question about what Ron DeSantis does ultimately is hang out there. And he was asked this week, though, or I think yesterday actually, about that. And he said for the first time really definitively, and it's true, he has we've got 2 more years of Ron DeSantis here. And what he's done with this governor's job is really take it to a different level in terms of how much influence he's done, in power that he's done here. And if you're not going to be president, being the governor of Florida is almost as, it's not the same thing, obviously, but it's a very powerful job. There was thoughts that he might, if Hegseth failed in his confirmation hearing, or that he'd be a backup for Trump to select a defense secretary. And I think that does interest Ron DeSantis, but I don't think that's going to happen now. So all eyes on DeSantis, though, what he will do coming up after he leaves in 26.